So I'm here in Southport at the Master Barber Shop with Mr. Robert Ricks and Dan Ricks, both award-winning barbers. I'm just here to ask them a few questions about where they started and where they're going with their business. So Robert, in brief, where did you start in barbering? Because as I understand, you have quite a few years or several years of experience.
Several years, several decades. I started in Sheffield. I managed to get an apprenticeship. As soon as I was 15, I got an apprenticeship, but prior to that I was working in a local barber shop from the age of 14 as what was called a lather lad. I used to go in and lather up the clients ready for my boss to shave. Once I'd turned 15 and became legally employable, I was then made a true apprentice.
And yourself, Dan?
About, 7 years ago for me now. My background was television. I got fed up with the rat race in London. Decided to head north, started a new family. And after years of being nagged by my dad and sweeping up at 11 years old, finally caved in at 30, whatever it was. Basically into the autumn of my life, and I gave up and decided to become a barber. Yes, so that's my humble story.
So you left media, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was in management and TV, and I used to run a camera crew. So it's from about 24 guys, and then decided to bring that side of my background into this business and basically help manage the business and also help the sort of like creative eye of the business as well.
And I see you've used that skill and that talent to actually use your skill and talent as a barber to actually be published. Is it 4 times?
Yeah, hit 4 nationals this year, which was quite nice. That actually came on the back end of qualification. I was doing my level 4 with Eric Lander, Gary Machin, MK. And part of that was to do a photo collection. On that photo collection, I then pushed it out, got it into 4 magazines, and then from there I entered it into Britain's Best with the National Hairdressers Federation, and I got pretty much a runner-up on that. And then alongside Michael Damiano and Cade Cut, from there put it into Red Rose for the regional, which is another NHF competition, and I got 2nd place on that as well, and that all came on the back end of 1 qualification.
I guess that leads me on to Robert. I'm sure you'd be happy to tell us about your other awards that you've won, shop-based awards that you've won.
Oh yeah, well I mean the prime one this year is the Male Grooming Salon of the Year by HJ. That was a real feather in our cap. We beat off some very, very stiff competition to win that. Went to an awards ceremony down in London for it, and nobody more surprised than us when they announced us as the winners.
And there was another one as well. You came runner-up for.
Oh yes, we were runner-up in Retail Salon of the Year. But for this to be a 1 outlet operation, we finished second to an 8 outlet operation. So we did.
Also to a multinational as well.
Yeah. A multinational was in the running as well, but we beat them, but finished second to the 8 shop chain. So our retail is very, very good.
Okay. And talking about retail, tell me a bit about your product range, because I live in London. I go to all the shops, Harrods and Selfridges and John Lewis, and I never seen such an extensive range of quality and exquisite products. Tell me a bit about the product range that you supply to your clients and passing trade. If you like.
Well, we do a lot of research into the products that we sell. We try to deal with top-end suppliers and manufacturers. We've got exclusive agencies with blue chip perfume houses, and we stock in depth. It's not a bottle of this and a bottle of that. I mean, we're ordering dozens of £100 a bottle fragrances at a time. So our spend on stock is very, very high. Our insurance is high. But we believe that if we keep that level of stock, we will attract the customers.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Dan?
Yeah, we just kind of follow the times of old, really. A lot of the companies that we stock are all based around Jermyn Street and Mayfair. We specialise in a lot of the apothecary products, the old shaving parlours of Mayfair, and that's what we're trying to bring to the north, basically. Just we're in a Victorian arcade. We try and bring back the times of old as such. Those elegant times that have been forgotten, basically.
And
we try and get away from the high street. That's if you can buy it on the high street, you can't buy it here. That's pretty much the rule. And we stay away from the big corporations as such. And we try and push the independence.
Okay. So these retail awards wasn't so much for your product range, but I think it was also to do with the way in which you sell or consult your clients into buying these products. Tell me about how you go about actually.
Oh yeah. Every sale that we make or potentially make is a technical sale. Somebody doesn't come into our shop and say, I want to buy this specific razor or this specific brush. They come in and they say, what would be the best brush for me? And you've got to have the depth of knowledge to be able to explain the pros and cons of each individual product. We read the labels on every item of stock that we have. We know what constituents go into a certain fragrance. If they come in and they say they want to smell like a jasmine tree, we have a perfume or a cologne or an eau de toilette that will give them that fragrance. With brushes, we sell badger brushes, we sell boar bristle brushes, we sell synthetic brushes, we sell horsehair brushes. The horsehair brushes we import from Spain. So we're searching globally for good product, good quality product.
It's not just down to the hair in the brush. It's even down to the timber that's used in the brush and knowing what that timber is. If you can turn around to a customer and say, oh, by the way, this is, I don't know, jacaranda or palm or cedar or whatever tree it comes from, and tell them what tree it's actually come from, they think, Christ, these guys have done their homework. They know their stuff. It's valuable. Because when you finish the sale, I had one guy that actually turned around and he didn't just say, he actually worked in sales himself, and he turned around and said, look, he said, I appreciate what you did. I sold him £200 worth, basically. And I appreciate what you did. He said, there was no heavy sales at all. He said, you worked as a consultant, and I appreciated that, and my background is in sales. And I kind of took that on the chin, and from then on, I've remembered those words 3 years on, and it stuck with me, and I try and make every sale is done in a consultative manner, basically. Yeah.
So this is no little shop. This is a big shop, and you move into an even bigger shop. When you two guys are not here, how have you trained your staff to duplicate the knowledge or your selling technique?
Every employee is trained by us. We bring them through the National Hairdressers Federation apprenticeship scheme, which is a 3-year commitment. During that apprenticeship, they have to qualify at level 2 and level 3. I work in education as well, so I can keep a very, very close eye on their training. We just insist on the best. As I say, every single person that works here is trained by us.
Okay. And yet another remarkable thing you guys achieve, not for a product this time, but for a service, is your quantity of shaves that you do. It's been said that you do, well, I've heard 150 shaves a week, which is... At least.
On the shop floor this morning, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, we will have 5 actively shaving. And very, very often, we will have 5 shaving simultaneously. So to hit 150 a week is no mean task, but we run a very, very strict regime with our shaving. You hear some guys saying, oh, I shave, but it takes me 45 minutes. Well, that's not the case here. The client might be in the chair for that duration of time, but the actual time while the operator is shaving is quite short. A junior will do the prep, get the client into the chair, towel them up, use the hot towels on them, lather the client, just as I used to do when I was a lather lad, and then the person who will be shaving, the operative who will be shaving, will come along and do the shave. The apprentice will then take over again and do all the finishing work. the clean off, the moisturising, the hot and cold towels to finish with, the cologne, the talcum powder, and take the client to the cash desk.
And you may well be going on to the next client in that period, so there's a conveyor belt going.
Okay.
You know, and quite easily on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you could quite easily have every chair shaving. And
But-
it's literally like that all day long.
But what is important, the client should not feel rushed in that process. It wants to be quick, efficient, clean, and to the point, but it doesn't want to appear rushed.
Exactly.
So he's bought a bubble of time off you. You know, he's coming off the high street. That's his moment. He wants taken care of for that 20 minutes, half an hour, and that's his little bubble. You know, he doesn't want to be in that, you know, out there, hustle and bustle. He wants to come in here, and it's his calm period. So whilst he's doing that, I'll pamper him, cosset him, and then also I'll upsell him some products. Because by the way, what cream did you use? I use such and such a cream. I use such and such a cologne. I use such and such pre-shave, post-shave, whatever. You know, and those products will be out in front of him when it's finished. And the upsell happens afterwards. Oh, I've always wanted to shave with a double-edged razor or a straight razor. Right, conversation started. I planted the seed with him. I've got a sale out of him as well. You know, and when we get to the counter, I could see him for 100 plus.
This sounds very, very strategic and tactical, but we really do it in a nice way.
It's not obviously on every client, but if the client shows an interest, then fine, I will push it further.
Yeah, no, I understand why you've done it, because at the end of the day, you've got all of these products, so you have to have the shaving cycle nice and smooth in order to then take them onto the retail cycle.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of shops could do 50 shaves a week, and their shop floor will be messy and they'll be all over the place because they didn't have a system in place.
It's been methodical and having that set format. Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah. It pretty much becomes, you know, to the book on every single one.
And one question I did want to ask, because obviously the shave used to be a very popular thing in the UK many years ago. Why do you think that it went down? What do you think was the shave demise in the UK?
Probably a decline in skill levels. The advent of unisex and the falling away of the older end of the trade. In my day, there weren't many young guys coming into the trade. There were a few going into ladies' hairdressing, but not many coming into barbering as such. I, in fact, did 10 years in ladies as well. After I got my gents qualification, I went straight into ladies and did 10 years in that, and then in my late 20s, early 30s, returned to barbering, and I've stuck with that ever since. But once long hair had come into fashion, you know, the Kevin Keegan perms and colours and highlights and stuff like that, shaving really did start to decline and crash. But the fortunate thing for me is I've kept it going and made it a major part of every business that I've run. I've always shaved.
And what words of advice could you give to other British barbers who wanted to obviously increase the number of shaves that they do? I mean, if you just...
Well, become slick, be very efficient, be very clean, watch your hygiene levels, master your craft, basically.
Come on, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, an upsell.
Yes. Yes. We do offer shaving courses. So you know,
So you take them through the marketing side, the application.
Yeah, the whole ethos. It's not just about putting a blade on a face. It runs a bit deeper than that. You know, we're harking back to a better, more pleasant time.
So tell me, guys, you're both state registered. Tell me what you feel the importance of being state registered is in the UK and for other barbers and the industry on the whole.
Well, I've been a state registered hairdresser since early 80s, so I've got a long time in with them. I went in with what was called the old Hairdressing Registration Council before Hair Council was formulated under the old 1964 Hairdressers Registration Act. I sit on the Barber Council. So I'm part of the steering group that decides on how we're going to finally achieve registration. I've been plugging away at it for nearly 50 years, We've had it into Parliament 3 times, and 3 times it's got voted down. But hopefully one day it will become mandatory registration throughout the whole of the industry, and we will finally become respected as professionals.
What limitations do you think it has on the barber and business stand by people not being state registered?
Well, go ahead, Dan.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say, basically, for us, it's it just sets us apart from what others are. You know, it might upset a few people. Apologies if it does, but you know, £5 haircuts for me, we ride against it. You know, we state registered for a reason. If guys turn up and they're putting their prices down to that sort of price, we'll go the opposite way and we'll put our prices up just to show that level that we're at. You know, we're registered barbers. We've got some serious accolades behind us, and it just kind of it sets the level. That's the reason that I want state registration, because people can actually see you as a proper serviceman. You know, I provide a service. I'm a professional, and it just separates kind of, I suppose, the men from the boys a little bit. As I say, sorry if I offend anybody on that one.
But would you have your gas boiler serviced by somebody who wasn't gas safe or Corgi registered? No, you wouldn't. You'd call a professional guy in to do it. You know, we are professionals. We exude professionality. You know, I don't want to be associated with the amateurs in this industry at all. I want to set myself apart as a true professional.
Okay, well, I think you've more than achieved that. It speaks for itself, and I'm looking across the wall of the top of your chairs with all the certificates signed and stamped by official bodies. And talking about standards, next door in your new shop upstairs, you have a massive training academy,
yes,
if you like. Tell me a little bit about the courses that you're going to offer upstairs to obviously bring up the standards of British barbering.
Right. Well, I teach level 2, level 3 at Further Education College, and have done for some years. I actually started teaching when I was 22 years old, and have taught intermittently all throughout my career. But what we don't do is we don't offer the standard NVQ type qualification. What we do is we teach masterclasses. So our advice is go away, go to Further Education College, get your level 2 under your belt, get your level 3 under your belt, then come to us and we'll finish you off.
Yeah,
we'll
it's
put
almost like a finishing school.
we'll put the polish on you. You know, we'll turn you into a true pro.
And what do you specialise in the academy, and what is it you specialise in the academy when it comes to training?
I think my specialty on that would be the shaving, definitely.
Well, Dan has beaten me in open competition at shaving, so you know I must bow now to his prowess. Even though I taught him, he beat me.
Yeah, I knocked him off the mantle at Pro Hair Live on the BBA competition, but yeah.
And Andy won £1,000 side bet into the bargain.
He's bitter in his old age.
Yes, I am. But I teach cutting skills. During part of my time in ladies hairdressing, I worked in sassoons. My skill levels are very, very high on precision cutting. Point cutting, club cutting, scissor over comb work, razor cutting as well. I learned razor cutting from Continentals, not from Englishmen. So my cutting skills with a razor are very, very high. And that's what we try and get over to our students.
Just bringing back the old tonsorial arts, really.
Yeah.
Purveyors of it, if we can.
I mean, you've heard that saying, I can teach you everything you need to know, but I'll not teach you everything that I know. I couldn't teach you everything I know because it spans 54 years, and it would take me 54 years to get that over to you. So there's a huge.
I've spent 7 years begging for you to do that. Still don't.
Yeah. There's a huge knowledge bank that people can tap into.
And would you, at any stage, be sharing your retail model as a course in your academy?
I have been approached on a couple of occasions to do that. We've not formatted anything up yet, but it may be something to do in the future. I mean, we have thought about expanding this as a franchise chain, but we looked at it, we examined it, but we didn't think it was right at that time. I'm not ruling it out in the future, because the Master Barber Shop is a definitely identifiable brand now, so that may be an option for the future.
Okay. And in closing, tell me about your affiliation to the fellowship.
Yeah. I became a member of the fellowship, and I stood for election to the fellowship council, but unfortunately didn't get voted on because at the time when I stood for election, there was no single barber on the fellowship council. It was comprised purely of ladies hairdressers, and I thought, we have to correct that imbalance. I also wanted to get onto the council as a northern representative, because the fellowship is very, very London centric, and I thought that barbers and northern barbers should have a voice on the council, but unfortunately the vote didn't go my way. I now have to wait another 18 months before that election rolls around again. So if I'm still, vertical and above ground, I will stand for election.
So Rob and Dan, I'm kind of taken away by the size of the shop that I'm in now. You're moving over to the road to an even bigger shop. Tell me what you're going to be doing there.
Well, we're staying within the precinct of the arcade. Because it's a fabulous Victorian building, so we're just simply taking the biggest unit in the arcade, which is 5 times bigger than our current shop. We'll be working on 3 floors, and we'll be dramatically increasing not only our retail capability but also our service capability. We'll be bringing in such delights as Japanese shaving. To complement our European shaving skills. We'll be doing massage and pedicure and manicure. So hopefully the luxurious experience that the client can enjoy will be even wider.
Over 3 floors.
We've got a qualified sports therapist and sports masseuse that works within our shop. So that's one avenue that we're going to go into from now on. She was a personal fitness instructor, dietitian, nutrition, everything. So she can bring that aspect. We'll have a private room where somebody can actually go and they can have a haircut, a wash, the whole shebang basically, the shave. They can have a face massage, head massage, they can have a full body massage. They can basically buy into whatever service they want now. So we're not just keeping it to the shop floor anymore, we're taking it off into private room as well.
Over 3 floors.
Yeah. So this is not just getting a few quid for a quick haircut. A guy can come here and come there to our new shop and spend an afternoon with us.
When you start getting into sports massage and sports therapy, they're buying into almost a session as well, because there'll be a repeat session on the back end of that. There'll be a follow up. They're kind of buying into a program as well.
Continuity
program. Yeah.
I mean, our demographic is quite unique. It is, the gentleman will be relatively well moneyed. He will not be afraid to spend. He will look for the more luxurious things in life. This is not just a cheap and cheerful operation. This is slick, professional. Right to the point.
I think you missed a trick though, Rob and Dan.
I
think it should have been called Slick Ricks.
Slick Ricks, I like that.
Sorry, Larry, but you're taking me back to the days of Dougie Fresh there. That's for those that know, by the way.
And tell me, who created this design? Because IKEA kind of have a design that takes you for a flow, journey. Who created the design of the new shop?
It was a joint effort between Dan and I. I mean, we've argued about various points on design and content, but we've come to a reasonable compromise, I think. it has to look clean, it has to look tidy. We've tried to theme everything red, grey, black, white, very, very strong, bold, masculine colours. So we
also items that I can buy repeatedly if I need to.
Yeah.
If there was to be a second or third shop,
Yeah.
I know I can get those items on a duplicate again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to buy.
Franchise.
Yes.
Idea come into
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I've got to look at the bigger game plan basically. I can't just have one shop that's going to look this way and then the next shop is going to look completely different. And they all need to kind of go in the same direction. So keep the brand strong basically.
So if you did expand, would you kind of go down to London or would you expand out?
I don't know.
I won't answer that. That's my secret. If you answer it, I'm going to kick you under the frame.
Okay. I hope that our current success is not just simply down to where we are here in Southport, or where we are here in this Victorian arcade. I hope we could replicate it in other towns. But I think we have a very, very strange mix here. We have an absolutely top-notch high street in this town. It's populated by reasonably well-off people. We're in a fabulous building. We would look long and hard before choosing a second location.
Yeah, and it couldn't necessarily be replicated by another in this unit. You've got to know your apples as well, basically.
I think
it's a collective of everything put together.
Yeah, the combination of he and I together does really bring something to the mix.
But the media background comes into it a lot. The design, the aspect of it. My sister works in the business. She was a qualified graphic designer. I was in TV, so we kind of put. The way I look at I'll look at things like a photograph. And the window dressing. I'll frame the window dressing as I would frame a photograph, and things have to complement each other, and the colours have to be correct against the backgrounds and left and right, and architectural framing basically. If anybody knows what I'm talking about on that, but then I have to kind of step back and look at the whole window and make sure what I've done in that little unit is going to complement what's in the bigger unit. There's one major thing that a lot of people mention is the window dressing, and it's looking at it like a photograph. But we do that with what happens on the shop floor as well.
Yeah, exactly. That type of ethos, is going right back to my training days in Sassoons. It was all about structure and form, shape and continuity of line. That is something that's inbuilt into our brains. And we can create the shapes. I struggle sometimes to get it through to my students, that it's not just about taking half an inch off. It's about creating a form, creating a shape, creating a contour.
Very good. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your words of wisdom. I'm sure people's going to find this very helpful.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
Time, Larry. Appreciate it.